if you are not switching off your mind. Remember, you get those dreams, I saw something in my dream which kind of made me gasp for breath. And today's children and today's Gen Z and today's youth, today I see people constantly scrolling their phones and they're just going one after the other thing without really stopping, without really thinking. What really fascinated about my country, India, is when I got this opportunity to go to Kerala. And that's the place, for the very first time, I rode my bicycle for 200 kilometers. It was one crazy long journey. And through that ride, I realized that India, and especially in Kerala, there's this beautiful concept of Ayurveda and Panchakarma, the very ancient Indian traditional roots, taking care of your body, taking care of your mind, and most importantly, taking care of your spirit. And in that journey of my bicycle ride, I decided that once I finish my bike ride, I'm going to go in for a treatment. Now, I had no idea what I was getting into, right? And that journey showed me something very interesting. I walked into this really tiny chalet and I saw this woman who ushered me in. She was a local woman from Kerala. She spoke in Malayalam to me and she told me to come in and just lie down. And to my surprise, I was like, okay, I don't know what to do now, right? And I just lay down, waiting for who's going to come in. And it was the same lady. And she walked me down through this beautiful Ayurvedic massage process, a whole healing process, so to speak, for your body. It was an entire process of my body going through a healing, cathartic experience. She used a lot of leaves, a lot of medicinal herbs, some creams, and she mixed it all up and she made a thick paste out of it. And I was really intrigued. Wow, this is something that is beyond what we see in today's day and age of commercial beauty products, right? And when she applied that on my skin, believe it or not, all the skin burn, the tan, the rashes from that 8 to 10 hours bike ride, I felt a very, very cooling effect on my body. And more than that, what happened was my mind and the smell sense kind of came into equilibrium. And when that happened, I went into a space of deep rest and deep meditative peace. And that was the most quintessential India experience for me. And that was in Kerala. I find the concept of Ayurveda very fascinating. It's supposed to be the knowledge of life, and it stems from Rasa Shastra. When I tapped into Rasa Shastra, what I realized was Ayurveda is nothing but deep rest. You have to give yourself rest. And I've walked into some powerful rooms, and the one thing that I've asked people who've managed to accomplish a lot for themselves, not just in the physical world, but the internal world, is what has allowed them to climb year after year, decade after decade, the mountain and reach the summits and reach the peak. And one answer was in common, and that was rest. And the rest, not just for the body, but for the mind as well. And that's where Ayurveda comes in. The entire journey of Ayurveda showed me that people most often confuse rest and restlessness. Reason behind that is when you're restless, you think you're not doing much at all. And you feel like there's a lot that you want to accomplish. There's a lot you want to get together, you want to put out there. And that's where your mind becomes restless, your body becomes restless. And then what happens ultimately is your output shrinks dramatically by 90%. So the moment you're restless, your output is 10%. And the moment you give your mind that rest, that deep knowing of internal rest, even just one action, you will accomplish 90% of your success. And that is the very secret of our ancient Rasa Shastra, which stems from Ayurveda. Oftentimes, people confuse sleep and rest. Many of my people who have met them, they've shared that I'm not able to sleep, I'm not getting enough rest, and they're jittery and they're anxious and they're drinking copious amounts of coffee, and I was also guilty of it. But it's through this journey of transformation and inner mindset and development, I saw that sleep is completely different than rest. You could sleep for 8 hours, but you may have not rested enough. And if you've rested enough, you may have not slept really well, but that's okay. So the secret, where does it lie really? Let me tell you. So when you sleep for those 6 hours. But if you are not switching off your mind, and if you're giving your subconscious that fodder repeatedly, hour after hour, minute after minute, remember, you get those nightmares, those dreams, those, oh my God, I saw something in my dream which kind of made me gasp for breath. That's when your mind is not rested enough. And guess what? You're going to wake up the next day and you're going to feel what you don't want to feel. And that's why you say, I didn't sleep well, man. And the truth is, sleep is a very different concept. When you're lying down, you're giving your body rest. And sleep is to empty your mind. Rest is what you do for your internal organs, your subconscious, your conscious, and your awakened mind. And that's where one must recognize that sleep and rest are two very different concepts. And please don't ever misunderstand it or interchange sleep and rest, because these two are very different concepts. You can be rested and you can be working. You can be effortless and you can be working, but you cannot be sleepy and do action. You cannot be sleepy and do work. Do know that. Today I see people constantly scrolling their phones and they're just going one after the other thing without really stopping, without really thinking. You may have very many distractions. You may have very many things that you can do and accomplish. And with AI and all these new concepts that are coming in, I see that today's generation, and including me, I'm guilty of it, right? We sacrifice sleep for it. We don't let that sacred period, that time to reflect and really lay down and give ourselves that peace of mind. We are guilty of not taking it. And we put everything else first. We keep everything else as priority. And what about putting yourself as priority? It's just sleep. If you don't sleep, it's like water is elixir of life. It's sleep is the secret and the sacred gateway into your transformed self. What about that? So that's a very important aspect I feel is missing. And today's children and today's Gen Z and today's youth, all of us, right, millennials, sleep and dopamine, sleep and serotonin, sleep and oxytocin, all are intertwined. So you need to recognize when you're going to bed, are you going to bed to give yourself that time out? Or is it just a habit that you're doing? So are you really wakeful in your sleep, or are you really drowsy and lousy in your sleep? So the moment you witness that for yourself, you are going to have not just a good night's sleep, but a great morning the next day. It's very interesting that we take our remote controls and we put our batteries in it, and the remote control is kind of suddenly charged up and you plug it in with your PlayStation or your television. Same thing is with yourself, your body. And what is that battery? It's sleep. And it's very simple. You don't want to negotiate your sleep for, you might be having crores worth of business out there, right? But if you are not at peace, how is that business going to take off? And I see very many people in the world of business, in the world of creatives, in the world of government, who are just restless and mixing up sleep with themselves. And guess what? They are tired, they are exhausted. And that is the place where you need to stop and tell yourself, you need to recharge your battery and you need a good night's sleep. It's as simple as that. Very, very simple.